Oh yeah, welcome to episode 2 review of Heels, the Star Show. How's it going, everybody? I don't know when I'm going to run out of wrestling impressions, and I really hope I don't. So, first of all, let me go ahead and tell you, please like, comment, subscribe, really helps me out. I appreciate everyone who not only watches the videos, I appreciate everyone who does the things like the commenting and the liking and the subscribing. It helps. It really does. Uh, so today's episode is called Dusty Finish. And boy, this is I've been waiting for this show all week. If I'm gonna be honest, that first episode impressed me so much, and there's so much I want to talk about. And actually, I just remembered something. Next week, I want to talk to you about what happens next week because I have to talk about that. Anyway, what is a Dusty Finish? Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I had to look this one up and I had to look even further into what a dusty finish is because I don't ever remember seeing one, but that is not true. I more or less have seen one. So, what is a dusty finish? A dusty finish is a finish where the face appears to be winning, but then something happens mid match, like you bump into the referee, you knock the referee out, another ref comes out, the face, the good guy, the baby face, he covers the heel, 1, 2, 3, he wins the title, right? But due to some unforeseen circumstances, such as heel character, the heel character's faction coming in and attacking, or due to other outstanding things, the decision is reversed by the original referee. When has this ever been done? And why does it have the name Dusty Finish? Well, the name is called Dusty Finish, and it's actually named after Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes is not only a famous wrestler, he's actually a famous booker. Uh, Very divisive booker, actually. A lot of people think that some of his decisions weren't so good, and a lot of people stand by his decisions. Famously, and I will thank, I cannot remember the wrestling channel that I looked under, but you know what? I will put the link to their channel in the description. Um, the person said famously that this finish got its name at the Starcade 1985. Starcade is wholly Dusty's baby. Dusty made Starcade, which I think WWE still has the rights to Starcade, unfortunately. Now, while Dusty is famously known for it, the person that made it is actually a wrestler turned booker named Eddie Graham. So in this match, it was Dusty versus Ric Flair in NWA National Wrestling Alliance, which they actually are an independent promoter again as of 2019. They came and gone so many times, but they're still here. They still have really great matches. Actually, Shad Gaspar's partner from Crime Time, I can't remember his name. I feel bad for forgetting his name. Um, he actually had a championship match this past SummerSlam weekend. JTG, JTG just actually had a championship title match with NWA this past weekend. That's neither here nor there. Dusty fought Ric Flair, and halfway through the match, Dusty was pushed into the referee. The referee was knocked out of it, and then the Four Horsemen came in to help Ric Flair. Didn't go their way at all. Dusty ended up doing the pin. The ref came to 1, 2, 3. Dusty won the championship. It was one of the most long awaited matches of all time. Ric Flair had held the belt basically for over a year. But Dusty thought, what if, we do this double turnaround finish, so when we actually do it, the fans will be wanting it even more. Unfortunately, the Dusty finish isn't done at all pretty much anymore because it was overused back in the 80s, back in the early 90s, back in the day. Most wrestling shows or house shows, they were only done in front of certain people in certain places. And even if you have them on cable TV, not everybody watched them. So you can get away with doing literally the same things at different shows. But over time, people started to catch on. And that's where the backlash of this came from. Some people accepted it because, it's wrestling. But others said, nah, we absolutely hate this. Now, a Dusty finish that happened in my time, millennial time, was when Chris Jericho challenged Triple H on Raw, Monday Night Raw, for the Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho actually beat Triple H. And that match actually propelled Jericho, showed Vince and everybody else what Jericho could do. He's not just this, hot blonde surfer guy, even though he's from Canada, Winnipeg, Canada, but whatever. Uh, it showed what he can do. That's the last time I can actually ever remember when this was ever done, especially when I was looking into the Dusty finish. Now, with everything I've just told you, I can't really. I'm trying to pin down when the Dusty finish, because these episodes are named not only after wrestling terms and terminology and things like that. These certain things happen in the show. First episode was kayfabe. Everyone is, living the wrestling world outside of the wrestling ring. People think that Jack is a scary heel. People think that Ace is this wonderful guy. That's all kafabe, aka kayfabe. Um, I think the Dusty finish in this is essentially where it's not just that Jack won that match and embarrassed his brother. It got turned around because in the end, Ace ended up getting what he wanted. Like, if you don't know already and haven't paid attention to the title, spoilers, right? Uh, in the end, when the brothers, I don't want to say make up, but when they shake hands and they patch things up at the end, because Jim has his wife has their baby, and everyone's gathering around for that. Ace wouldn't go inside because Jack is there, which is quite interesting because the night before, Jack and Crystal actually went looking for Ace, but get to that in a minute. And the Dusty finish comes in where Ace said, "Look, I want more control over my character. You know, if someone else comes scouting for me, and they will come scouting for me, I want, don't screw me over. I want to win, and I don't want everybody ever booing me again." And Jack goes, "Okay, cool." You know, this episode does a great job, and I think that was. Let me don't get ahead of yourself. This is the Dusty finish there, because while the decision was Jack did what Jack wanted. Jack did what he thought was best, not only for his brother's character, but for the promotion as a whole. They got reversed. Now, Ace isn't necessarily the champion, but eventually he's gonna be, right? Now, the great thing this episode did was show the outside lives of the wrestlers, showing that wrestling, like, while wrestling is in someone's blood and they eat, drink, breathe in wrestling and they love wrestling, nowadays, especially what Jack's wife said, most people don't make money just wrestling. Jack is a lawnmower salesman. He sells lawnmowers. He was hired by his boss's grandfather because he was charismatic. Which his boss named Tim. He is a total tool. Just I would, if I would place how old Jack is, I'll give Jack at most early 40s, late 30s. Tim is just this 26-year-old jackass. You know, but it is what it is, right? Ace has no job. Ace lives with their mother, who, if you felt any type of sympathy for her in the first episode, realizing that, oh, her husband killed himself, she's a bit of a bitch. She mistreats Crystal, which I guess how would you react when you live in everyone they live in homes that have very very thin walls. So our opening scene is a sex scene between Crystal and Ace. It is what it is, right? And when Crystal's basically trying to cheer him up. Ace has been calling Bill all day, and Bill even says, and I don't know if this is registered with Ace. Sorry, I keep calling him Jack. With Ace, Bill is basically just trying to tear down that company. He tells his brother, "Why don't you sign with the other guys?" The Actually, I wrote their names down because I got notes, guys. I got notes. The FWD. I know it's Florida. I think it's Florida Wrestling Dominance, or I forget what the D is. And he tells him basically, betray your brother, join another thing, get back at him. Which, obviously, at this point, Ace is not done. It's still up in the air, and I really hope Ace doesn't do that because that's like a nail in the coffin for their relationship. Pardon me. But Even then, this guy's in the middle of his own either pre or post sex scene, which Bill is quite hideous looking. So, but we get the sense that his mom is trying to be protective, but Crystal actually has real affections for this guy, and I actually wrote down, the character development. I'm gonna run down and just do Ace right now. Seemed like Ace peaked in high school. He even brought up a moment when he outpitched a guy at the bar that he winds up being at, already drunk, and says he outpitched him. He's like, you remember that? He's like, no, but obviously you remember that old thing from high school. It's very obvious that Jack peaked in high school, and even sorry, not Jack, Ace peaked in high school, and Jack brought up, hey, you were a great high school quarterback, but you couldn't cut it, and you're jobless, and I'm a lawnmower salesman. This is who we are, but at the end of the day, when I go to wrestle, and I'm going to transition to Jack here. When I wrestle, I forget about all the crappy things. I forget that Duffy, Georgia's where we are. I forget that I'm not always the best dad and I should be spending time with my son. But when I'm in the ring, all that goes away, which led into their other conversation. Um, Jack, Jack took care of his brother when they were younger. Appears that dad was a bit of an alcoholic, and he would take his brother out, deer hunting, and this place that they call, I think he calls it Lucky Stand. Here's the funny part: Jack also felt bad about shooting deer. He couldn't even run over a possum. He full on stopped the truck to not kill a possum. Very, and I get the feeling that they have squirrels. They had squirrels in their house. I get the feeling he didn't even want to take care of the squirrels because he doesn't really like killing anything. It's a very interesting thing, and it's very very obvious that he loves his wife. Very very obvious. Um, it's just he's not always there, and she's a very strong lady. She does her best to remind him, when we need a new mattress, you bought a pyrotechnic machine instead. She even goes to sleep on the couch because she wants to be open and talk about things. Again, the walls are very thin, so his son Thomas probably thinks they're arguing, but they're having a conversation. And Jack doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about. Everyone keeps reminding him that Ace is his brother. And he knows that's his brother, but doesn't want to open up and talk about it. He did what he thought was best, and even with this, and one of the most interesting things, and I know I'm flip flopping between husband and wife. Even through all this, he still consults with her. In the end, after the escapade with his brother, which we'll get to in a moment, he opens up and said, "Yeah, Gilly, which is the guy who owns the FWD, wants to buy the dome. Should I do it?" And she does not say yes or no. Of course, she wants her husband home. She tells him, "Hey, you should probably take a week or two off." Jack even says they'll go on vacation, but she understands how much wrestling means to him, but she wants him at home, which I understand to be the plight of a lot of wrestling spouses and significant others. So I genuinely hope that they do not get a divorce at all. But she cuts the grass even when she mentions to him, their son's practicing soccer. He's not very good at it. He can barely kick the ball because the grass is almost as high as he is. She gets on the riding mower, pops open the beer, and cuts it down. She kills the squirrels that are up in the attic. Not gonna wait on this guy, right? And she shouldn't. We talked about mom. Crystal also proved that while she does dote over Ace, she knows a lot about wrestling, and she has that family's back. And even when uh, their mother is very rude to Crystal, even her small dig wasn't disrespectful as it could be. She said he's lucky to have a mother like you that cares, and that's obviously a dig because she says if you he doesn't need someone like you. She calls Crystal a gold digger, which Ace doesn't have shit. So I don't know what she's trying to dig, but yeah, she more or less is completely rude, but Crystal still is. Thank you for having me over. Even when their mother makes her crappy casserole and says, "I only made enough for two," and Crystal's been over their house all day, more or less playing Xbox, literally Xbox One. They're playing Cuphead, and they got pretty far in Cuphead too. But playing Cuphead, and she's still being rude. Yeah, there's a lot behind that woman, and I'm pretty sure years of abuse and really not taking care of herself and her children, and being a wrestling wife probably has something to do with it. Crystal also proves herself because I'm assuming that I don't know if it's her little brothers or if it's the neighbor kids. They say, "Hey, suplex us. You know, you do it the best." She has a picture perfect suplex. First of all, amazing. Does it on a trampoline, so the little kids aren't hurt. They're probably like 10 or 12. They're not hurt. Um, when the boys get into a bar fight, because they are searching all over for Ace, and when they get to this bar, and I mentioned about him talking to the old high school rival, everyone's talking crap about Ace because Ace cried. He cried. You know, his brother almost snapped his arm off. People were booing him and throwing stuff at him. He's crying, and people have been jeering and laughing at him. And this happens at a bar that I believe his wrestling name is Rooster. He's Afro Latino guy who has cornrows, but he has mostly a fro when he doesn't have the cornrows up. And we'll get to him in a second. I need to talk about Rooster because I don't like this motherfucker. So they're at the bar and they get into a bar fight because literally, Jack is there to get his brother out of there to get him home because his mother's worried about him, his wife, everybody's worried about him, and of course Crystal's with him, and they have a very good bonding moment, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. Um, he goes to get him. He mentions about their dad dying, and both of the brothers look at him like, "Are you talking? You talking junk about our father and our family?" I hope those two become a tag team somewhere in this show because dude, the guy even says, "Oh, you fake wrestlers don't know how to really fight," which everyone who's a wrestler in there turn their heads like, "What did you say?" Jack is knocking folks out. Ace helps his brother out, but at the end of this, because Rooster's mad. This is where Rooster makes his money, doing helping with karaoke sets. Crystal gives the guy a hurricanrana. And she says that's her finisher, which very good hurricanrana. She's basically proven herself to be an ally, and Jack eventually opens up to her because he gives. I think he uses chew. This is the deep south, so I'm assuming it's chew. And she said she wouldn't throw up while they're riding around looking for him. And she's the first one to open up, saying that when Jack had explained why Lucky Stand is where his brother might go, she opens up and says, "Yeah, I had an alcoholic father too." Jack opens up, saying what some of the issues are that's going on, saying, how he felt about things going on with his brother and with the wrestling. Not too much, but just enough. And while Crystal, shakes up and takes the chew, she says, not to pile it on, but that was a shitty thing you did to your brother. But seeing him at the bar and the way he was talking to people, he'd make a pretty good heel, wouldn't he? And that relationship is going to bud eventually. They're going to have some form of female wrestling there eventually, especially this is in modern era. Let's talk about Rooster for a minute. Now, now, Rooster has been constantly complaining about the finish. Jack has not finished the script. Everyone's wondering if there's going to be a show, but black guy played by James Harrison. His wrestling name is Apocalypse. He tells him, "Be cool. Everything's going to be fine." And eventually, this conversation comes up again because Rooster's telling him, "Hey, we need to go to the other place. They're playing people more. And, when's it going to be my turn to be champion?" And he tells him, "Look, first of all, when I got injured playing sports, people drop me like a bad habit. Their dad picked him up, and on top of that, Jack kept him in there. So he's showing some type of loyalty for the people that have taken care of him. On top of that, he says, why don't you just open your mouth and say something? He cannot read your mind. I'm just going to go ahead and predict already. Bruce is going to jump ship because he seems like the type that's going to jump ship. This little hotshot asshole. And I give him credit. He did text Jack and tell him where his brother was, and he was trying to protect his brother in arms. But he has a bit of an entitlement issue. We do get the sense that Billy, being the right hand man, right hand woman of Jack, it pays off a lot because she had that sit down conversation with Gully. I'm really interested in knowing what is her backstory with the family and why she is, a woman doing all of these, doing this booking and helping with the dome and everything. She even has to change a uh, fire fire detector battery. She even tells the men, she says, "Hey, next time if you calling me, get off your asses and do it yourself." Seems like the women have to get things done themselves in this episode because uncharacteristically, or maybe characteristically, the men are super emotional and are not dealing with their emotions very well. And I give them credit. At least they opened up 2 to 3 times in this. Ace has a very deep conversation about if life could start suddenly, what's to stop us from believing like a black hole would just kill everybody instantly. And it's the most sombering thing that I think both Crystal and Jack have heard his brother ever say. He's crying. He's like, I've seen videos of people right before they die in natural disasters, and then people always think you're gonna scream. They're not screaming. They're crying and they're silent. It gives you a deep thought into Ace's mind. He's not probably he is pretty much lost. These are two brothers who have not reconciled the death of their father, not reconciled his suicide or even their childhood. It had been thrusted into this world where Jack actually forced. I don't know if I mentioned earlier. He forced his brother ever since their father died to do wrestling, and it turns out he's really good at it. While they sort of made up right now, they really haven't. They really haven't had that honest to God sit down. And I'm pretty sure it's going to come. So, not to drag this out any longer, make sure I get all this. Not drag this out any longer, but I will. I'll make one more thing. I do like Billy when she finally reads Gully, because Gully's just hammering in. They're a sinking ship. Jack's an egotistical asshole. He doesn't like him because when Jack's father died, he talked shit about him on a wrestling podcast. Which Modern Era in this show is really really great because they show people having podcast talks about the matches and things that are going on and what they like and dislike, which actually does happen. These, at least the promoters that are humble, not WWE, but the people who are humble, at least listen to their fans and what's going on. But after he says he's a sinking ship, he's still pissed about him talking crap about him. She goes, "Look, you came down here to you're starting a territory war, which hasn't been a thing since the '80s, which neither Jack nor myself was around for. So he's only going based upon things he's heard, which apparently territory wars almost destroyed wrestling, but that maybe I'll do a video about that later. Anyway, he set up this territory. He's fighting. And he's thinking because he used a lot of old Impact and TNA reels for the FWD. And she says, "You think you come down here and that the people down here are stupid and dumb? They just want violence. You know, the reason why we're winning and we have a fifth of your budget is because we make great stories and we have things that people care about and we care about the people that are watching. They matter. We're doing this for them, and we're not just giving them senseless violence. They want something they can hang on to." And she leaves. He has to pay the bill, but he keeps telling her to leave. I love that loyalty is a focal point of this episode. I just need to know what makes Billy so loyal. And of course, the next episode is going to have Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk, playing a wrestler that's going to come in and wrestle Jack, and that's going to be probably the focal point between him and his brother arguing because his brother still thinks he can return as a face, even though dude's better as a heel. But Phil Brooks, this Friday, finally, he's in wrestling again after 7 long years. He's wrestling for AEW. I'm hoping myself to possibly go to the Friday show this week and possibly, pick me up one of them CM Punk shirts, But hopefully he's there as well. So Very, very good weekend for wrestling. Unless you count SummerSlam. Let's not talk about SummerSlam. But please let me know what you think of Heels Down in the comment section below. If you're watching this and you made it this far, one, thank you. Two, I'm dead serious. Please comment down below. Let me know, what are you looking forward to seeing in this series? I personally need to see Jack and Ace, the Spades brothers. I need to see both of them in a tag team. That needs to happen. As always, please give me a like, comment. When you hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, get notified of more videos like this. I'm going to keep talking about heels as long as they make it. And I can see this easily being a 3 to 4 season show. Wrestling is hot, especially this past wrestling weekend. Hit the share button. Share this video with other people. Show them what knowledge I'm giving you guys about wrestling. Show them what a great time you're having here, right? Right? I really do hope you're having a good time. As always, I thank you for showing up. Please be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Please be safe out there. Be good to others and be good to yourself. Please don't be a jerk, and I will definitely see you next time.